Welcome to World History Lesson 1, the study of history, geography, and culture. Our lesson objectives are: identify scientists who study history, identify the system used to number the passing of time, identify geographic features that influence culture, identify how environmental factors shape culture, discuss how the age of metal significantly changed the history of humans. History is the study of past events. There are different types of scientists that study history. One of those scientists, the archaeologist, investigates past cultures and their activities in ancient cities. The archaeologist does this by studying artifacts, things people made and used in their daily lives, and fossils left behind. These artifacts and fossils can give us clues as to how people lived during a certain time period. Other scientists also study history. Geologists study the formation of Earth and how the Earth has changed over millions of years. Anthropologists study the lives of past peoples, including their beliefs, religion, and government, all of which form a society's culture. Fun fact: Indiana Jones of the action-adventure movie series is portrayed as an archaeologist. The methods used by the action hero are often very destructive to his surroundings and have been criticized by actual archaeologists due to his actions resembling looting cultures of their artifacts. Despite his false representation of their field, the actor who played Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, was elected to the board of directors for the Archaeological Institute of America in 2008 for the recognition he brought to their studies. Timelines in history. Timelines can be used to illustrate when events took place and the chronological order in which the events happened. Timelines usually cover a certain length of time and show important events during those time periods. Dates increase as they move away from one. For example, an event which took place in the year 300 BC happened 300 years before Christ was born. An event that took place in AD 1900 happened 1,900 years after Christ was born. Other terms used to identify events are CE, which means common era, and BCE, which means before common era. Other terms for division of time. In addition to numbering individual years, scientists also group years into these divisions. A decade is 10 years, a century is 100 years, a millennium is 1,000 years. To find the number of years that have elapsed between dates, when both years are either BC or AD, subtract. Example, from AD 500 to AD 2000 is 82,000 minus AD 500, or 1,500 years. When one year is BC and the other is AD, add. Example, from BC 1500 to AD 1500 is BC 1500 plus AD 1500 is equal to 3,000 years. Throughout history, many different cultures have developed throughout the world. Culture can be described as a way of living or behaving. Culture includes the language used and the way people communicate with each other. Culture also includes government, which is the way people are ruled. Culture also includes religion, or the way people worship. An important part of culture is the way people relate and interact with each other, and the environment a society creates for themselves is also part of their culture. Culture is often formed because of the place where people live. For example, people who live in a mountainous area will naturally have a different culture than people who live in the desert or near a large source of water, such as a river or an ocean. The way land is used by people and the type of government people form may be determined by the geography of the area where they live. This is because geography greatly affects the way people live and work. Because of this effect, geography can directly influence the development of a culture. For example, having convenient access to lakes, rivers, and oceans can determine the methods of transportation used to move goods. Physical characteristics of the land can influence farming methods and the crops that are grown in a region. If the land is fertile, food and water may be plentiful. Natural resources such as the minerals, copper, iron ore, gold, and silver influence inventions. For example, Metals such as copper were used for tools and also for money, trading or bartering. The people who learned to use iron invented stronger weapons and tools. People who lived near land with high clay content developed pottery, which was not only functional but could be very beautiful as well. People who lived in a very cold climate might wear clothing made from animal fur or skins. Climate also influenced types of shelter. Grass huts might be found in warm climates, while igloos would be prevalent in the Arctic region. Climate in an area determined how people dressed and lived, and this is still true today. Although it is sometimes difficult to explain why people live in certain areas, we do know that the environment and the geography of an area help to shape the culture. What next? Take the time to go back and review the lesson on your own. After your review, complete the lesson review for the lesson and submit for grading. Remember, your submission should follow all the rules for standard written English. All submissions must be written in your own words and sources used cited at the end. How to cite sources in APA format. When you reference a source within an APA-style paper, whether it is using a direct quote, repurposing an image, or simply referring to an idea or theory, you should insert an in-text citation, the author's surname and the date of publication within parentheses straight after a direct quote. The URL citationmachine.net will assist you in creating citations.